Hello, beautiful soul. Welcome to the Elevate Your Soul podcast. Welcome to episode 100. I am so excited to finally get here. I wanted to start off today's episode by reading one of my latest favorite reviews on my podcast by Serena Ballerina. Quick disclaimer that I am a unicorn brain who subscribes to religion and science. I love this channel because Arelle is so unassuming. She is so transparent in the beliefs she shares. The discussions are so constructive and non-judgmental. The intention to engage in dialogue that might improve people's lives by increasing the awareness or inviting them to reflect and explore their assumptions about the world or themselves is very clear and I'd say is successful. These podcasts feel like a hug for my brain and soul. Thank you so much, Sa. I absolutely love this review. And if you've been listening to this podcast for a while now and you're enjoying the Elevate Your Soul podcast, it would really mean a lot to me if you could leave a 5-star rating and write a little review on the side. I would greatly appreciate it. I thought I would use episode 100 to reintroduce myself. I've only done one episode, which is the first one on who I am and why I'm making this podcast. And I thought I would re-update that just a little bit so you guys know who I am, so you understand whose voice you're listening to every week talking to you about all subjects on life of how to elevate your soul. I feel like I've been on earth enough to know what my dharma is, which dharma simply means your purpose, your life's purpose, why you were sent here, why you reincarnated on this planet. What are you here for? To help humanity, to help the earth, to help animals. And I really feel like my dharma is to inspire humanity, to educate humanity, and to show other people what their soul already knows. The fact that they are so worthy of love and abundance and making their dreams come true. Showing them that we all have a dharma, we all have a purpose why we're here on earth, and to help you find that and just fill you up with so much love and self-love that pours and overflows onto other people so that we can create a world with more harmony, more peace, more love, and ultimately more freedom. I am an advocate for freedom. I love freedom. I am pro-choice in anything. As long as you aren't harming other people intentionally, I am all for freedom. Personally, I do not drink or do drugs. I stopped drinking around the age of 21, 22. I kind of lost interest, and drugs, a couple years later, I think I started losing interest in that as well. I am someone who most would say I love openly. I am not afraid to fall in love, be in close relationships, open myself up, be vulnerable, but I am very fussy, choosy, selective with who I am sexually open with. So lovingly, I am open. Sexually, I am not an open person. I am very selective and I like taking my time with that. So I would say I am from outer space. And I say that because I don't feel like an earthling. And I've been told through Akashic Records readings that I am a star seed, which simply means that I've had many, many, many lives, but not on Earth and in other galaxies. So this is all new to me. Earthland, the laws of the universe here, how humanity works, etc. And I also don't seem to resonate with any culture or religion really on this earth. I feel like in this lifetime, Earth is my home. So anywhere I am on this planet can feel like home, especially once I learned to fully understand myself, love myself, have a good relationship with myself. Basically anywhere where I'm going to sleep, I just call that home. I am a fairy mermaid. I'm a fairy in the sense that I love fluttering around the globe. I love adventure. I love exploring. My 5 senses are really, really strong. So smells are really strong to me. Visually, I can see colors very, very brightly. It's very vivid. My taste is also really, really strong. So I love to eat colorful foods, but I need to eat things that are almost a little bit more bland because taste can be very overpowering for me. So fairies are just very, very sensitive to their surroundings. They need to be in nature a lot. They need a lot of sunshine. They love flowers. They're attracted to beautiful colors and just beautiful things, and highly, highly intuitive. And I'm a mermaid because I love tropical waters. So I am a warm watered mermaid, if that's a thing. I love warm waters. Like, you know how there's like fish and how there's cold water fish, warm water fish. Yeah, I'm a mermaid who lives in the warm waters. So Hawaii, anywhere around the equator, I love to go. I love swimming with fish. I love diving in coral reefs. I love swimming with dolphins, turtles, sharks, whales, you name it. They are my best friends on this planet. And if anyone asks me, if you have 5 minutes left to live, what would you do? I wouldn't say, oh, I want to see my family, or I want to be with my friends, or whatever. I would choose to be underwater swimming with a pod of dolphins or with a pod of whales. That would be my jam. I am a highly sensitive person, as I mentioned before. I was always that way as long as I can remember. And once I realized that it is a thing, then it helped me understand myself a lot more. And if you are comfortable with labels, I will throw in here that I am a Gemini. My human design is a projector. My Ayurvedic dosha is Vata Pitta. My numerology number is 33, and my personality type is INFJ. If I'm sticking to labels here, I would consider myself a bit of an empath mixtured in with highly sensitive person. So I am very, very fussy and selective of who I choose to hang out with, what I choose to eat, what environment I choose to put myself in, etc. I am very clear on what I want. I know what doesn't feel good in my body or for my surroundings or for my aura or energy, whatever you may call it. So I am just a very selective person. Some might call that fussy, but I just really know what I want and what I don't want. I grew up on this planet, mainly in countries of Canada, United States, hence the accent, and New Zealand and Germany. Most of my blood comes from the genetics of Southern Europe, though, and I probably would have spent most of my little teeny childhood in Canada, in little Nova Scotia. So for those of you listening, some of you might not even know what that is, but it is a province in Canada that is on the East Coast, and it is very small, but it's a beautiful little place, and lovely, lovely people are from there. So I'm pretty glad I was able to grow up in such a safe, happy little towns, because I never just lived in one place. My parents were always moving around, even if it was within one country or within one province. We moved quite a bit. So hearing all of that, you may come up with some conclusions and judgments of me. But one thing I would like to say is that, yes, I'm a very happy person. Yes, I'm very bubbly. I love socializing, hanging out with my friends, fairy mermaid, blah, blah. But I haven't always been such a bubbly, happy, expressive, confident person. Childhood wasn't necessarily easy for me, just that my parents moved a lot and I had a really hard time adjusting to new environments, making new friends. It took a really long time for me, and if or when I finally did find that, we would move again, and I just felt like I had no say in that and no control, and I was just dragged around to places that some of them I didn't enjoy being in. So that was earlier childhood. And then in my teenage years, I had a lot of depression and suicidal thoughts, suicidal attempts. I had really, really bad anxiety to the point of panic attacks. At one point, I had a fear of being alone physically. I could not be in a house by myself. I was so scared. I had insomnia, so many nights where I just could not get any sleep. I had also social anxiety for a while. I didn't want to talk to anyone outside of my family or my friends group. But at the time that happened, I didn't actually have friends. So I just didn't really want to talk to anyone for a long time. I dealt with restrictive eating, compulsive exercise. I did self-harm, just all of those things that almost makes you enjoy the feeling of physical pain and your body aching because there's so much emotional pain that you haven't yet processed and haven't yet dealt with in your life. So that was all suppressed and boiling up inside of me, and that just manifested and expressed itself in many different ways. And what helped me a lot through this journey to get over that bump and release the old childhood traumas and all of that to elevate my soul and live a happier lifestyle was listening to podcasts. I am someone who, when I listened to these podcasts, I didn't just put it in because I felt that I should be listening to it or because I wanted to seem smarter or for any other external reason other than I was fed up with living a shitty life. I got to the point where I thought death was a much better decision for me than living. And once you hit rock bottom like that, I've heard this a lot, that people just say, fuck it. I'm either going to go all in or all out. I'm going to completely transform and elevate my life from here, or I'm going to kill myself and end it because I'm not worth living in the middle. I don't want to live in the middle. I don't want to live in this continual cycle of not feeling good enough, not feeling loved enough, never being happy enough, always feeling tired, etc., etc. So I decided I'm going to live a fucking amazing life. So when I listened to these podcasts, it wasn't any reason of somebody else wants me to listen to it. It was purely, I want to change my life and I'm going to give everything I got to change my life. And if it doesn't work, I can always kill myself next week or next year. That may sound gruesome to some of you, but that was kind of my train of thought. So when I listened to these podcasts, I absorbed every bit of knowledge, every single thing these people said. I tried so hard to integrate that into my life, to practice that daily into my own life. And that took work and that felt uncomfortable, but that is what was necessary to transform and change my life around, because my life hasn't always felt as good as it does now, and it feels fucking good. I'm so glad to be alive, and I probably couldn't imagine myself saying that 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. I hated myself. The idea that I'd be making a podcast and others would be listening to it would have just blown my mind. So I'm just sharing this with you to give you hope, whether you're going through a hard time yourself or you know someone else in your life who is going through a hard time themselves. Please share this episode with them. Share your story. Share everyone's story who's overcome that hurdle, who's been suicidal, who's gotten through the other end and transformed their life. I think it's so important that we share this information out there and we share how we did it. And because podcasts helped me so much, that is why I am so passionate about creating this podcast for you guys, because I want to help contribute and give back and help transform and change the lives of others. Even if there's one episode in this entire podcast that brought a new thought into your head or changed a perspective that you had on life that you never heard of before, and you've adopted that and incorporated it and embodied it in your lifestyle, and it has changed your life for the better, and it has elevated your soul and elevated your happiness, that is why I am doing that, and this is what I am hoping for. So if you listen to any part of my podcast ever that you find inspirational or educational, please share it with other people. And also, I would love it if you could connect with me and let me know about it. So that is why I am creating this podcast, to help shift a few things in your mind, open you up to new perspectives you may have never heard about before, so that you can expand your mind, expand your awareness to then choose which way do you want to go? Which beliefs do you want to adopt? Which beliefs do you have that are actually nourishing for your soul, that are actually beneficial to your lifestyle, that are actually getting you to where you want to go? Which I think most people on this planet want to go towards happiness. Whether they want to admit that out loud or not, ultimately we all want the same thing, which is love and happiness. So everything and anything on this podcast, every topic I choose is selected to help you elevate your soul, aka bring you more love and bring you more happiness. And that may be simply to broaden your perspective or perhaps bring up a whole new topic you may have never heard of before. So that is why I am making this podcast. This is who I am, Arelle Hug. Yes, Hug is my real last name. It was my father's last name. It was my grandfather's last name. This is episode 100. I will have another 100 blazing through of amazing topics for you guys. So keep up to date. I upload a podcast every single week on a Monday or a Sunday, depending which time zone you're in. But I hope you guys are enjoying this podcast so far. If you have any podcast topics or subjects that you would like me to interview, please do let me know. If you have some amazing guests in mind you would want me to interview on your podcast, also let me know. If you yourself feel some kind of spark or urge within you to get on my podcast on a topic that you are passionate about, that you feel humanity needs to hear right now, please also message me and let me know. I am on Instagram at Arelle Hug or Facebook Arelle Hug, Arelle, last name Hug, Hug. You can also find me on Patreon if you're interested on getting some coaching with me. My website for that is on Patreon at patreon.com/elevateyoursoul. If you want to get in touch with me simply to say hi or ask me a question or just tell me you love my podcast, which I absolutely love, feel free to. I love it when people reach out. I love hearing where you're from, where you're listening to the podcast from, how you heard about my podcast, etc. I hope you guys have an amazing day, an amazing evening, and an amazing fucking week ahead of you. Love you all. Mwah. If you like this episode and are enjoying the Elevate Your Soul podcast, please help support me by sharing it with someone you know who could benefit from this episode or from this podcast by copying and pasting the link or simply sending them a screenshot. I would also love for you to write me a review on whatever app you're listening to this on. It really helps get this information out there. And if you'd like to support the podcast even more by helping me help you to create more ad-free content with incredible guests for free that help inspire people and elevate souls all around the world, please support me through my Patreon site at patreon.com/elevateyoursoul. You can be a part of my support network by making a small monthly donation to help me get the resources I need and dedicate my time to research and video and audio content. Or contribute a little more to also help guide the direction of the podcast by requesting episode topics or guests to interview. And if you can contribute even more, you will have all of the above plus a monthly one-on-one life coaching call with me so that I can help you directly. That's patreon.com, patreon.com/elevateyoursoul. Any support goes from me back to all of you and is greatly appreciated. Hey YouTube fam, if you like this video, make sure to hit the like button below. And if you think a friend, a family member, or just someone you know who could benefit from this podcast episode, please share this video with them. And if you've been enjoying the Elevate Your Soul podcast, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel for new episodes weekly.